Tonight on Zadanza, remember Ken Ham, that weird creationist guy?
Oh boy,
Well,
who does it?
he made a video basically putting all his grievances out there about politics and religion and the world. And so we just thought that'd be fun to talk about. All that and probably quite a bit more tonight on
Zadanza. Whoop whoop. Let's go.
What indeed.
Boys and girls, NBs and what rhymes with NBs?
Gembies.
Dembies?
Gembies. I don't know.
Gembies. What's a Gemby? No? Nothing? Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Hello everyone. Welcome back. Thanks for still watching the show, even though I wasn't here last week. I know I'm the big draw between the two of us, so I appreciate it nonetheless. Hope you had a good time. I had fun in New York. It's pretty cool. Saw Book of Mormon. And here's the fun thing. When I went to New York side, I was dressed up nice because I was going to work Friday. And my taxi driver, who was like this Jamaican guy, was like, "Oh, where are you going?" I was like, "Oh, I'm just going to work." He's like, "You look like you're trying to get some bitches." And I was like, "No, it's like 8 a.m. I'm just going to work." So anyway, that was fun. And I had a 8-hour layover getting back, which was
gross. Was that planned or just
no
delay?
No, I was supposed to leave at 5 p.m. I didn't leave till like 12:45, which means I didn't get back till like 4 in the morning. It was really bad, but it's all good. It's all good. So anyway, my boring update.
It wasn't that boring. Don't be hard on yourself.
Okay, well, great.
The Prestige says record viewership last week, which isn't technically strictly true, but
yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And Plow King says I have a friend named Genvi. He's a good guy.
Genvi, that's pretty awesome. So I had to do some shit for work today, and I'm not gonna say their actual names. Actually, never mind. That's a bad idea. I was gonna say I had to prepare some stuff for 4 different people, and all of their names looked like fake names. Like they looked like names you'd see in like the witness protection program. But I realized I probably shouldn't say what their names are now. So it's not a good bit. It's not a good bit. Yeah. Passing it back to you, Zod. What's up? What's going on?
Just living life. I did a Holy Spirits last night, so recorded that with Dr. Ben. If any of you haven't seen that, check it out. It's hard to find because the channel's still pretty small, but basically Dr. Ben has people on to just tell a Bible story while they've had a little bit to drink. And so I talked about Revelation. There's one with Sidney Davis Jr. and Secular Rarity. They've done the first episode. That one's already up. And you'll see a lot more come out too. So,
yeah, I plan on doing one too. I just been a bit busy lately, but me and Ben are talking, so we're gonna. Oh, you'll probably see me on there, and I'll probably plug the shit out of it. So I don't know what story I'll do though. Revelation's an interesting choice, Sod. I gotta say, wouldn't be my
first. I wasn't. So I first wanted Balaam's ass, which okay, that sounds weird depending on how you take it, but
right.
It was
an ass.
Exactly.
Right.
But I guess immediately before I asked for it, somebody else had taken it. But that's, that's kind of a lazy choice, really. So I was glad that I got challenged to do Revelation. And there's a lot of funny stuff in there. I was wondering what I'd be able to make of it. But I realized I think any part of the Bible I sit down and look at closely, I'm going to come up with all kinds of ideas. And so, yeah, I just did the first 5 or 6 chapters of Revelation, starting with the letters and when he goes up and sees the Lamb and stuff. So
nice. People are saying I look like a PowerPoint. Is that still happening? Am I freaking out? I look totally fine on my end.
What do you mean a PowerPoint?
Like people, I guess my frame rate was dropping.
Oh, I'm not seeing your frame. You look natural to me.
They're saying we got PowerPoints.
I think they're talking about we missed the illegible PowerPoint. Maybe that's a joke on the fact that I used to like to do PowerPoint a lot early in the
that's what they're
show. I'm
talking
not sure.
about? You think they're talking about you liking to do
I don't know.
PowerPoints?
Stratahawk, explain yourself.
Yeah, tell us what you mean.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
so I'm not going to lie to you about this episode. We kind of just settled on the Ken Ham thing. There's a lot of other stuff going on, but this was it's a fun one. I'm not gonna like try to undersell it, but we just like, I don't know, I saw this and he was just saying weird, stupid boomer things and made it be fun to riff off.
Yeah, we've both been kind of busy lately, and so we kind of pulled this one together a little bit. But if it goes wrong, you can blame Zod for actually bringing content to the table and actually picking.
There you go.
I don't think this is too bad. At first I was hesitant because it's Ken Ham, a lot of people talking about it, but this one is kind of funny to talk about, I feel like.
Yeah, it's just the most out of touch with the times. I know some people hate the word boomer, but I put it on the thumbnail still. I just feel like boomer totally sums up the way he talked throughout this video.
If you had told me, hey, here's a Ken Ham video, I wouldn't have been interested in watching it, but after watching it, it was funny. It was funny. So we'll watch it again together. It'll be good.
I also showed you a Brad Stine video.
Right. Yes.
But he also has another, it looks like a new comedy thing out called Laugh While It's Legal, or maybe it's new-ish. I don't know if he's still actively doing comedy or if this is something from.
We found that out when we were looking at his Instagram. It was like a tour he was doing.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
So in this one, it's this smallish looking room, like sub church size room, like you're in a club or whatever, with the expected audience of middle-aged to older people who all look like they're from church and definitely all vote Republican.
Right.
And
which is exactly the kind of audience you want to have at your comedy show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So he carries on with his normal political grievances. At some point, he talks about identifying as things. Of course, we can't offend anybody, and people identify as things. And he says that when he was a kid, identifying as something was called playing pretend, and that back then you did it temporarily.
Right. It's very, it's very good observational humor.
And this story goes way downhill from there. You haven't even heard the beginning of it yet, because he says when he was little, he used to like to play cowboys and Indians.
Of course.
And he used to like to be the Indian because, they're brave and strong and shoot bows and arrows and stuff like that. But he says it's a good thing he didn't do it now, because now you don't just temporarily pretend, you identify as that. So if he did it, he would be one forever. And this would mean, among other things, the government would come take his home, which he, acknowledged that part of it. But he goes down his list of things that would happen to him. And one of them was,
if he identified as a Native American,
he would, and he called it Indian, but he means Native American.
Yeah.
One of the things he says he would instantly become an alcoholic.
Jesus Christ, Brad! What the fuck, dude? Really?
But that would be that
instantly become an alcoholic. Oh my god!
But that would be okay. It wouldn't be too bad, because he would have money to get treatment because he would own a casino.
It just gets worse and worse. Every new fact I learn about this man. What the fuck? What is it? Oh, Jesus Christ.
He's the worst.
He is the worst. Does he think that every Indian person owns a casino and benefits from the casinos being on the property? Like, does he think that's how that works? Like,
yeah.
Oh my god.
Now, David says, does Brad not realizing that he's describing all the effects of the racism and injustice against Native Americans? And part of his point, I mean, he did acknowledge taking away his property and stuff like that. And I think he kind of acknowledged that the alcoholism and stuff like that wasn't an effect of maybe what they've gone through or whatever. But he ends up saying, no, this probably made you uncomfortable when I said that. I'm like, yeah, no, duh.
Yeah, really.
But he says, I was just speaking truth, because there's truth in all those observations.
Just speaking truth. I hate.
Yeah, that was it. That was his whole thing, is we're all so caught up in being sensitive that we just can't speak truth anymore. And
Well, there's nothing even true about that. Like most Indian people don't own casinos. Like I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's the thing. He's saying that these are like, he's not saying that he's spelling out, real literal facts, but he's
Yeah.
trying to say that all of these comedic
He's just being
observations.
racist. There's no truth in that. Like if you were role playing as a dumb guy and you were saying this is what a dumb guy would say, that would be funny because it would be ironic. But like he
Yeah.
actually believes these things. That's why it's not funny. Like I can tell like he's telling you like, no, these are truths that I'm talking about. Where it's like, no, you're just a mean dumbass. Like
Yeah.
what the fuck?
And to whatever extent there is some truth in that, the way he says it is just he's presenting it as crass generalizations that are going to come across as offensive.
Well, are
And
we going to
so
look at that clip that you showed me? Because, that kind of ties into this.
you want to watch that?
Well, I
You want
feel
to
like
watch it? You want to watch that first?
it ties into this a little bit about our discussion. I feel like there's some connections there. I don't
Okay,
know.
yeah,
What do you think?
let's bring that up.
Okay.
Chat, tell us if you want to see Brad Stein.
We can start with the old Bradford Huckabee Stein.
This will just be a boomer themed episode.
Yeah, I'm okay with that actually, that theming. I would have hit it stronger, I feel like, but no, that's a good way to summarize.
Okay.
Like
Oh.
yeah. So it's for actually no, we'll let the clip talk because I think so this is another one of these clips where Brad starts with a premise, but then his story kind of takes him to a different conclusion than like what it started with. So what I mean by this is this title is called When You Meet a Woke Person. But by the end of this, we will not be talking about woke people. We're going to be talking about something else. Can you guess what it is? It's not about woke people. It's about a different kind of people, I guess. But yeah, let's just dive right into this one. This is
Right.
this was posted recently too, right? This was like a few weeks ago.
Yeah, this is most recent one.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. This was 10 days ago.
So I just want to point that out because we're not canceling Brad over something he said 20 years ago. Like this is still his current thoughts about things. So
yeah, and I don't know if
really
he's
great.
currently putting this out. Like he looks even a little older than this if you see his daily Brads. So I don't know if like these are this is old stuff he keeps
Like
reclipping. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. He's talking about woke stuff. It's kind of newer. Anyway, we'll see.
Yeah, it's true.
We'll just watch it.
You're
We'll just
right. He's
watch it.
graduated from politically correct to woke because he was hung up on the word politically correct for an overly long time.
Right. No, well, I mean, he said he uses that word in this video. He still complains about it. But
Stratahawk says we can't cancel Brad even if we tried. Yeah, he's
that's
already
true.
irrelevant. So what's
Yeah, what are we gonna cancel him for? Well, I guess
gonna
he's on tour. We could say, hey guys.
But he's already scraping up the bottom of the barrel reactionary Christian right wingers who,
I know it's
cancellation just gets them to admire him. So
there's
anyway,
something about
ready?
Brad. He brings me back every time. Anyway, let's watch it. Let's see what he
Here's
has
a
to
true
say.
story. I was once talking to a friend of mine, a comedian, who is of a darker hue than I, and I found it interesting that he changed his self-reference 3 times within the course of a conversation. So within 20 minutes, he referred to himself as black.
Okay, why don't you just say you have a black friend? Why do you have to say he has a darker hue than you, dude? That's just a weird fucking way to describe your friend.
Yeah.
Makes him sound alien. I have a friend who you might describe as foreign or something. Like, I don't know. What do you mean by that?
What this sounds like is people who try to like, it's almost like along the lines of trying to not see color.
Yeah.
Like you're acting like race is not a reality in our society as like a social construct and the effect it has. So I was just hanging out with some dude who happened to have a little more melanin in his skin than I did. Like
I I realize why he's doing it, Zod. It's because he's setting up his bit here because he's about to talk about the way this person referred themselves. So he didn't want to use any of those words. So he's described as the first of a darker hue. I think that's what's happening. But anyway.
I recently heard someone say that basically we're all mutts because we're all mixes of different race and stuff like that. Um,
I mean,
and
yeah.
it was after another comment that was a little more edgy than that, but it was kind of reeling it back. But
Great.
but it was. I feel like it's like, well, technically, we're all combinations of blah blah blah. I think
Yeah.
this feels like along those lines, just trying to be very casual about something in a way that's meant to make you seem not racist, but you're really just denying the reality of the world people live in.
Right.
That's the energy I'm getting off it anyway.
Spoiler alert. I guess I'll go ahead and say this. This title shouldn't be when you meet a woke person. It should be when you meet a black person, because we're not talking about being woke like at all from like this point onward. Pretty much, we're just going to be talking about identifying as black or whatever. But anyway, yeah, go on.
So the big problem is we kind of cut right in the middle of it, but this person,
let's start it over.
Okay, let's start over. All right. We in case people want to hear that.
Here's a true story. I was once talking to a friend of mine, a comedian, who is of a darker hue than I, and I found it interesting that he changed his self-reference 3 times within the course of a conversation. So within 20 minutes, he referred to himself as black, African American, and even people of color. So I ask you, my fellow Americans who desire freedom and are sick of PC, has the PC word police so infiltrated our psyches that people are now being careful not to offend themselves?
Jesus Christ, you idiot. Trying not to offend themselves.
Do you think this person gives a fucking shit about offending you with what they call themselves, man? Like what was the process here? Like do you think he was afraid that you, a white person, was going to actually you're a person of color, not African American? Like what do you think this was? Like what reality do you live in? I don't know.
Yeah, number one, how do you get trying not to offend himself? You're really wanting to see a punchline in this, if that's the conclusion you come to. But then also, I'm sorry, maybe there's 3 different words. Are you this triggered by the fact that 3 different words for being a black person came up? Right. I don't know.
Who gives a shit? Who cares? This got him so mad that he made a whole bit about this. Like what the fuck?
Like
I don't know.
Like might a guy in casual conversation refer to himself as a man, a dude, a guy? You know what I mean? Like, there's just different words for things. So
how come we can't call ourselves different things like whitey or cracker? You know, like is that what it is? Like he wants to have multiple words? I don't know.
Or maybe he was disappointed that more different words didn't come up.
Right.
Like, but, the one that he said before used to be technically allowable, and for some reason it's not.
Yeah. Also, I like anyway. No, it's stupid. Never mind. We'll just keep playing. It's just dumb. What a dumb.
I think we just leave it at the fact that he was obviously looking for this fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
He then made a statement that got me thinking about the idea of bigotry in the form of racism. He told me that an African American couldn't be a racist. So when I asked for a clarification, he says, you couldn't be a racist unless you belong to the race that was in power. No, I don't think that's how it works. If you're a human, then you're flawed, no matter what color you come in. When we speak of racism, I think most people are talking about superiority. And here's the problem. And I know this is going to throw you because I'm about to use some.
It's a problem about attitudes. It's a problem of the heart. You know, that's what it is.
This is a tale as old as time, or at least as old as the last. I don't know. Like, maybe Brad, you could stop and think about what this person's referring to as racism. Like, I can understand some of the misunderstanding if you take that as meaning that you don't think a person of color could have any kind of negative attitude toward another race. That obviously is not true. That can happen. Yeah. But maybe consider that they're talking about something different when they say you can't be racist. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's not what it is. Brad has to make sure that black people can be racist, and he needs to make sure that this particular black person knows that, so much so that he's wrote a whole bit about it. Okay, so he's not going to let this one go.
Okay, yeah. So
he corrects this.
I'm acknowledging that there's a little bit of room for misunderstanding there, and I'm honestly not a big fan of using the phrase "certain people can't be racist." Not that I object to it. I get the truth it's getting at, but I think it can create a little bit of confusion. But he's obviously not making a good faith attempt to understand anything here.
No.
He's just looking to make a point.
No, he doesn't give a shit. Absolutely.
By the way, Dr. Ben is in the chat, so welcome.
Don't worry, Ben. We plugged your show earlier. Just send a check to the Zadanza Gmail account, and we'll work it from there. So thanks, bud. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you had to go there. Okay.
He doesn't actually.
By the way, I won't say much about how it came up, but Brad Stine came up yesterday when we were filming, and Ben didn't know who Brad Stine was. I said that he would learn a lot watching our channel.
That's right.
But here's a little taste of the Brad for you, Ben. In case
we are the number one Brad Stine fan cast,
yeah.
I think, on the internet. For sure.
Common sense, and apparently sense isn't common anymore in America. But let me try. Doesn't it appear, and I'm just throwing this out there, I could be wrong, but doesn't it appear superficially that some groups of humans do seem to excel at certain areas? The bigger question is, are we suddenly uncomfortable? Are we allowed to talk about that? I mean, isn't that what we always hear? We need a bigger national discussion. Let's have one then. All right. If we see that black humans seem to excel at jumping.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't pause quite on time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to say, what about this angry white middle-aged guy screaming at you like this is going to be, let's have a conversation with him about race relations.
Yeah. Isn't this the guy you want to have a rational conversation about what the races excel at? Yeah. Yeah, that seems like a great time, Brad. That seems really good. That's never been bad for anybody, actually. I think it's only net positives on that one. Jesus.
Oh, but yeah, you all heard what happened right before I cut off.
And I need you to also understand that the first example he chooses to do in this insane way to talk about this is that black people are good at jumping. That's the first thing that came to mind for this bit, I guess, which is wow. Really
I legitimately forgot about as soon as I remembered that the jumping part was coming up, or the different races having different talents. I'm like, oh boy, I forgot. I legitimately forgot it went here because I just shared this with you today.
Yeah, it's
right.
It's a take.
In fact, let's go back in just a second just so we can digest that again.
You want to go back? Okay, all right. Go ahead.
Run that back. All right. If we see that black humans seem to excel at jumping, for example, over whites at the elite level, then so be it. Sorry, I don't see a lot of Chinese excelling at high hurdles. Whereas, when it comes to world-class accordion players,
he managed to make black people are good at jumping worse.
Yeah. Yeah, he really did. But well, we'll get to why this is. I thought we should bring this up because he's about to make the point, which is, I don't know. Yeah, I'll save it. I'll save it for the next part. Never mind.
I wanted to look up people like Chinese athletes and how good they are at jumping and stuff. Yeah. I'm pretty sure they have a
pretty sure we could find some.
They have a rigorous Olympic program. They probably have some good jumpers. Anyway,
Chinese Olympic hurdlers. That's
the whole jumping thing is kind of an outdated stereotype anyway. Like there's a lot. I think in the NBA, I don't follow it really closely, but I think there's a lot more like just white people known for jumping and dunking and stuff.
I don't know, man. I don't know. All I know is this is what Brad's mad about. This is what he chose to use his platform for. He needs everybody to talk about what the races excel at. And that was his example.
And we can't have this conversation if you can't take it as a goddamn compliment.
Right, exactly.
Whites dominate. In your face, Michael Jordan. Comedy was supposed to be a way of helping us acknowledge our differences and, more importantly, find humor in them.
Oh no, it's buffering.
Uh-oh.
What happened, Zod?
Brad.
YouTube couldn't handle it. They're like, no, we need to stop this truth from being spilled. No, is it really buffering? No. Do the trick where you like go back on the time a little bit.
Differences, and more importantly, find humor in them.
No. Oh, come on. Boo.
Okay, while we're
maybe refresh it or something. Like the whole page. I don't know. I really hope we get to the part.
Okay, sorry, I'm gonna have to close that and reopen it. It's just totally going wonky. While we're trying to bring this back up, I just looked up several prominent Chinese high jumpers have made their mark in the sport.
Yeah.
They used to, a Chinese jumper. I'm not even trying to say the name. Used to hold the world record.
It's just like, I don't know, Brad. If you're gonna be racist, at least try a little bit harder. It's all I'm saying. Like, you're not even getting your so-called truths. I mean, like, it's none of it's true. I don't know. It's all fucking bullshit. But it's just.
So my computer. Okay, here we go. My computer is saying YouTube isn't connected to the internet, but now it's working.
Okay, all right. I was gonna say if you need me to do it, then
I think it has to do with my browser, my VPN. It'll occasionally say Google or.
Oh, you're doing a VPN on here. That's probably hard to do while we're streaming.
Seems to work. The only thing it seems to affect is when I upload YouTube videos. All right, sorry. Let me bring this back up.
All right, bring it back. Bring it back. We need more truth. We need more truth from Brad. I'm ready.
All right.
Stein me up.
Oops.
This is a great time to say we'll accept super chats and read them out loud. Give us a hoot and a holler if you're enjoying the show and you want to show your appreciation. Okay, we good?
Give us a hoot and a holler. Yeah, I think we're
all right, perfect. Let's do it.
Oh, sorry, gotta adjust a little bit. All right.
In your face, Michael Jordan. Comedy was supposed to be a way of helping us acknowledge our differences and, more importantly, find humor in them. Richard Pryor made an art form out of the way he compared how white people did things compared to blacks. And in the end, what we found in these racist stereotyping caricatures wasn't division, common ground. Whites were able to see how we were seen by blacks, and we laughed at ourselves. I mean, seriously.
And there would be exactly nothing different if a white person laughed at
right. It's totally
it'd be
and
exactly the same thing.
If white people did Richard Pryor's bits, it would have been just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There is no social context there that informs how we should see these actions.
It's so fucking funny. I think we pointed out this out before. But can we talk about how he's got fucking Spock on the wall with Logic and the Obama poster on the right, and also the Three Stooges, which is like hilarious. Like, I don't know, you could have like a picture of your family or something, but no, it's the Three Stooges that Brad Stein seems to look up to, I guess, as true comedy legends, which is hilarious.
Holly, well, now that you beg for super chats, we got to bring them up.
Yeah, I know. Now we got some.
David, $1.99. Thank you very much. I'm enjoying the show and showing my appreciation.
Thank you, David. We very much appreciate your appreciation.
Thank you for that very literal super chat.
Yes.
Time Jumper. I'll let you read this one.
Yeah, Time Jumper gave us $5. Thanks so much for that. Saying the first ever comedies were mocking rulers and gods, something Brad probably doesn't like since in our culture that means mocking Yahweh, in Trump. Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I don't think humor needs to be about anything. I think you can be about whatever you want, but to Brad, it has to be to fit his narrative. It's gotta, be about what he wants it to be about, I guess. But like, he also complains when people use humor and do things in ways that he doesn't like.
Yeah.
So he really does have a very specific idea of what humor should be.
Yeah, I don't see him sitting there laughing at non-stamp collector, or dark matter 2525, anything like that.
Right. Yeah, I don't think he'd be about that.
Kip's like, has Brad ever actually watched a Richard Pryor routine?
Yeah, really. Does he just know that he talks about the differences between white people and black people? Like, is that, I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if he's never actually seen it. Maybe just seen clips on YouTube.
He talks a lot about, I don't know if a lot, but he's definitely said things about the clumsiness of white people and how they approach black people and stuff like that. Like,
yes.
And I think a lot of the subtext wasn't just you happen to have one skin hue, I happen to have another one, and we have differences. Ha ha ha. There was a lot more self-awareness of things that Brad probably doesn't want to acknowledge, and that, I don't know. I would like to see Richard Pryor see this and give his commentary.
Right. That would be hilarious, but I don't think
this has very big Fox News trying to appropriate Martin Luther King energy.
Oh yeah. This definitely has a Fox News bit vibe for sure. Anyway, we need to get to this next part here, because this is the best, in my opinion, the best part. It's the
black comics be if they weren't able.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I was saying I think this next part is like the impetus for this whole rant. I think he wrote this whole rant based on this next part. Yeah, I think we're getting to it now.
I want to back up so we can hear where he said black comics would be nowhere without something.
We laughed at ourselves. I mean, seriously, where would black comics be if they weren't able to mock how badly white guys like me dance or can't? I mean, who hasn't heard this observation a million times? And who hasn't laughed? Now, Baryshnikov, Nureyev, Fred Astaire, Bob Fosse kind of prove the white guys can't dance assumption. It's wrong. So why is this racist caricature and observation funny? Because it's not racist. It's racial, referencing a racial element, but it's not racist, not demeaning, not undignifying, not putting down. What has happened is these PC folks have decided to make everything that refers to race evil. It's not. Catch the difference. It's culture's way of teaching us to laugh at our differences instead of fight about them, which can bring us closer together as Americans. The statement, white guys can't dance or jump, clearly isn't true in all cases. I find it funny because from an African-American perspective, we just don't dance normally like them.
Okay, there's so much to break down with this bit. Can we talk about, first of all, where would black comics be? Where would black comics be, Zod, if they couldn't make fun of white people for dancing? They owe us. That's what he's saying. White people deserve reparations from black comics for their success, for being able to make fun of white people. That's Brad's take, I think, which is hilarious. And then the next part of that, Zod, is like he has to name white people that are good at dancing to be like, well, see, it's not true in every case. This is fucking because he's
You notice too that he didn't have the reflex to automatically do that for Chinese people jumping.
It's just like he's insecure. Like, what is he really? We can't let people go out there thinking that white people actually can't dance. Hold on. It's so fucking funny. Oh my god. Or jumping. That was the other thing too.
And
so
then,
obviously white people can jump and can dance. Okay.
And then he ends with, we just don't dance in the style that they like, or something like that, didn't he?
Right. We just don't dance. Like, Like this started as a rant against like PC culture and ended as a defense of the white race. Like like it's just so fucking funny. Which is that's why I wanted to talk about this clip first, because him talking about what you were saying earlier with like the other race like is so funny because he's so defensive about being like white. Like he obviously doesn't like it when people make jokes about people being white and stuff. Otherwise, he wouldn't have talked about it. I don't know. It's very funny.
Yeah, I feel obviously this routine doesn't come off well, and we all know what he's really getting at. But it only survives as well as it does because he's being a little coy and not being specific. I
Yeah.
think if he actually started laying out exactly what he wanted this to look like, it would get really ugly really quick. And there's just this yearning underneath all of this for, to be frank, for white people to be allowed to make fun of minorities.
Right.
He's very thinly alluding to that, and gross.
This is what every white hack comedian wants, is to be able to punch down and like make fun of other people. And so when they can't, or when there's a culture that's kind of resisting that, they just make jokes about how they can't. Like we've been seeing this for like 5 years now, at least. Like, you know, it kind of started with Chappelle, and I mean, it was kind of happening before Chappelle, but I don't know. It's just, it's all the hackiest fucking comics are doing it. And clearly he's the hackiest of the hack, which is,
Brad literally complained that you used to be able to say Negro and you can't anymore. Like,
yeah, that's true.
And in fact, that one thing where he talked about how he'd be an alcoholic if he's an Indian,
right?
I think he opened that set up by talking about how you used to be able to say midget, which, you know, he complained about extensively in his book.
He's still on
and then he did this whole routine about how funny it is, the word they chose for themselves. And they decided to call themselves, of all things, little people.
Oh my God. He's been on that shit for 20 years. Really? Damn, dude. Get some new fucking material. 25 years. That book is like 2001 or something, right? Jesus.
I think it's 04.
04. Okay, so 20 years. Come on, Brad.
Hollyhock says, sounds like a skill issue, Brad. Have you tried not being racist?
Really? That's what I think too. It's like, oh my God, okay, you have to change up your jokes a little bit. You're a fucking comedian. Do your fucking job. And like, I don't know, figure it out. That's why people go to CUs, to do fun stuff. And so they don't have to think about the world. Or if they do have to think about the world, at least do it in a funny way. Like, I don't know. Instead, you're doing the worst of both worlds. You're making me think about racial prejudice in the world and how you're actively contributing to it, you asshole, by allowing white people to feel better about themselves.
I had to throw up Hollyhock's other comment. Did Amy Grant tell him he couldn't dance?
Oh no. Who knows what Amy Grant even said? He may not have ever talked to her.
No, I don't think he ever did.
Yeah.
He spoke to her from his heart from a stage, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. She'll never know how he really feels. Sad.
I saw some people in the chat talking about punching up versus punching down, and that's the difference. And obviously it is. That's the whole thing under here that he's trying to ignore, is the fact that a comment from one race to another lands a lot differently and has a lot different insinuations depending on where you're at in society. Basically, if you're in a socially advantaged position, not only does it potentially do more harm, and it rightfully can be taken differently, but it literally means different things coming from those situations.
Right.
But he, in his comedy routine, I have way too much of this stuff floating around in my head. He said that basically, he mentioned punching up and punching down, but he said that they've put all these people on this pedestal where you just can't say a word to them. So like, what's more punching up than when you, I don't know. He basically tried saying that when you talk about minorities or any group like that, that you're punching up instead of down because they've been put into this basically invincible position where you can't say anything about them.
Well, yeah, maybe Brad, you need to think about, why do you feel the need to say things about these people, like, in the first place? Like, why does your brain have to go there where you need to target certain individuals in order to be funny? You know, maybe that's one way to think about it. But also, again, like, I don't know, fuck it, if I talking to Jamie Boone, shout out to Jamie, and I make a fucking gay joke, that's gonna hit different because we've been friends for like almost 10 years, you know. So it's like
Yeah.
he knows where I'm coming from. And it's not gonna hit the same way. Plus, like, I don't make it my entire fucking personality. Like, I don't make it my top my 5-minute set on stage where I talk about gay people or something. That'd be weird. The vibes will be off with that, you know. Like, it's context, Brad. It's social awareness. But as you pointed out, he seems to struggle with that a little bit. A lot of these folks do. I don't know.
Yeah, it's really all of this is just somebody complaining because he can't be racist. That's what it amounts to. Anyway. So, do you want to watch some Ken Ham now?
Oh yeah, let's talk about the other boomer in this in this show, Ken fucking Ham.
Somebody's saying they can't find Dr. Ben. I think somebody put the @ in the chat. If somebody can do it again, we'll put it up on screen. I think if it's you do @ Unholy Spirits or something like that, I think that might get you there, but with an underscore in between. But if someone's able to put it in there, if you have the time, that'd be great. All right, let's watch. Video is titled "How America Went from a Nation with Christian Roots to Chaos."
Yes. Of course, the fucking Australian is going to tell me what the fuck my country's about. Ridiculous. Go back to the prison colony, Ken. Okay.
He's really yeah, basically this is like Brad Stein attitude with way less energy, essentially.
Yeah. Get ready for an energy slowdown, but still funny, I think.
All right.
Is it playing?
Skeptics and Scoundrel said @ Dr. Ben Hamilton on YouTube.
There you go.
I think that's a different channel though. The Unholy Spirits that's out of the channel.
He's got a new channel. If Ben's still in the chat, I don't think he is. He could post it.
Yeah.
But
anyway, it's up there in the chat somewhere if anyone wants to scroll for it.
Yeah.
All right. Here's
Western world, and let's just particularly focus on, say, America. We see there's been a change in the culture.
People are out here with hammers, baseball bats, whatever weapon they can find.
It's the 55th anniversary of the Pride Parade.
So we should stop it right there because, and they always do this, and this isn't the first time it's happened, but they show footage of riots and then just gay people living, celebrating themselves. Like it's part of the same thing. It's just oh god.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Not only you're associating all protests with riots, you're like, yeah, there's rioting and also gay people in the streets.
Right.
Cool,
and
right.
Jesus on a Segway, you know, which is something you should be concerned about for sure.
Time Jumper, thanks for the $2, says the price of this says he brings up trans people.
You're right. That does happen. Actually, I think right now he's about to, but yeah.
I love to just watch a lot of this video is carried by the choice of footage he chooses. So just watch. He goes from go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying the weirdo currently known as Evan brought up Dr. Ben's new channel is @ holy_spirits. So if you want to check out Zod's new thing on there, that's where you should go.
Yeah, it's not there yet, but there's other stuff there.
Yeah, subscribe so you can see it.
Yeah, but basically this is insinuation through showing, well, either riots and violence and smashing things or gay people. And then here we're about to flip to how he represents the world back in the 50s or whatever.
Predominantly had a Judeo-Christian worldview, and therefore the absolutes of Christianity were prevalent. Marriage was a man and a woman. Abortion was killing a human being. There are only two genders.
Okay. Well, we got the two genders already.
There it is. Also, does he not think that riots never happened, like ever?
Yeah.
Like what? I don't know. He wasn't here for that. I think he must have still been in Australia.
There were people that they would have called agitators back in the day. There, and do you think there's like nobody can pull up any footage or pictures of babies or families hanging out? Like these days, it's all riots. Back then, here's nice families.
Yeah.
And whatever. Fuck.
They love putting up like, oh, they think like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was this great peaceful guy. And it's like, motherfucker, he went to jail. Do you understand? They put him in jail. They put a lot of people like him in jail just for what he was doing. Like, it wasn't exactly peaceful for them, but yeah, I don't know. It's just
Yeah,
stupid.
and I don't know, you guys might not know this, but he said more words than "I have a dream" and
Yeah.
"color of their skin, not content of the
That's it.
character." He said a lot of stuff that if you quoted it out of context, they would think it was some super woke violent activist. Like
but he's not even
was
going to bring
harsh
up
when he
race
needed to be.
stuff.
What's that?
He's not even going to bring up race stuff.
Yeah.
He's just going to pretend like America was perfect, like all
Yeah.
these people do.
Yeah, back when we had Christian ethics and we sent
Yeah.
dogs chasing down and whatever.
Back when these
Male and
when they used
female.
to have young men, I guess was that a picture of young men fighting at a army camp, I guess. Great
I
times. Anyway.
I want to hear what he says about women as this
There's
comes up.
male and female of humans. But now we see moral relativism permeating the culture.
I love too. Sorry, he shows a bunch of women in the holding flags and stuff. The first thing I think is suffragettes. Like we're not
Right.
going to address, along with race, the fact that depending on when that picture was taken, those women weren't allowed to vote. This is all such transparent stuff.
Yeah, it's stupid.
And it's become the dominant worldview in our culture. And so we're seeing increasing abortion and gay marriage. The LGBTQ worldview has permeated the culture in many different ways. And we could look at that and say, well, what's the solution to this? What is
Just be okay with it.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. I'm mad that capitalism is catering more towards gay people than to old Christian white dudes like me.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, it's too
Yeah, that's
bad.
literally they're existing and I have to see their stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, buddy. Skeptics and Scoundrels brought something up I was noticing. That's a lot of abortion bills.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things going on there.
I don't
If
know
you
that
ask, but be serious. Ken Ham doesn't know what you would take. If you ask Ken Ham, what do you have to take for an abortion? He couldn't tell you. He doesn't know.
he probably thinks you stick a gun up in there and
Yeah. He definitely does.
shoot the baby in the head while it's saying, "No, mama, I want to live."
And then you just, stick one of those curly straws up there and just sucks them out. That's what he thinks happens.
Oh, this is going downhill. That's going to be nice and clippable right there.
Yeah, it's really good.
Anyway,
Anyway.
the solution? Many people look to the government for solutions.
The government can.
When you look at the history of the United States,
Tim Hawkins.
different administrations have come into power in the government, and then they get voted out, and a different one comes in, and they get voted out, and a different one comes in. And as you look, you often see how different administrations will have different worldviews in regard to morality. And so some will push it more to what we call the left, some will push it more to what we call the right, some will come.
There's an interesting selection of people on screen there.
Right. Yeah, Bernie Sanders paired up with Tucker Carlson.
Yeah,
two intellectual heavyweights.
Some administrations, they change and they do different things. And right when he says values change, it goes on Trump. So I would be curious what he thinks about Trump and his values. Like, how does he fit into those nice, wholesome 1950s values?
That's a good point. Do you think he'll ever talk about how maybe certain parties are also betraying these values of the old world, or no? Maybe just one of them, I guess.
Yeah. Back in the 1950s, when you could go to an island and people wouldn't make a big deal of it.
You can tell, by the way, I don't know if he actually wrote all this out, and they just like stuck him in front of a camera and then they got his editors to like edit some shit together, because like these takes are so fucking boring. He's talking really slow and low energy. It's like I almost am nodding off just by listening to this. And there's like funny pictures on the screen. So
yeah, it looks like they rolled him out of bed and made him read script that he has just no enthusiasm for.
Yeah.
Come in and they'll be more pro-life. Others come in, they're more pushing abortion, and just seems to go
pushing
back
abortion.
And forward,
Yeah,
back and forward. So what is the answer to the issues that we see? What are the answer to the social issues, the moral issues that we see in a culture from a biblical perspective? And I'll say this,
Euthanasia.
it's not the government and it's not legislation. Now, I
Why
don't
not?
want people to get me wrong. We need more Christians in government who have a Christian worldview, who will vote in accord with that. Because after all, if you don't have an absolute
The answer is not
It-
the answer is not more government. But don't get me wrong, we need
Don't get me
more
wrong.
Christian government.
We need Christian
It's-
government. Yeah. Also, it's not legislation. Wait, it's not? I thought you were mad that they're making abortion legal. Don't you want to make that illegal? Isn't that like part of your thing? You're not for that? I mean, if he's not, that'd be interesting. Or gay marriage, like, would you want that to be illegal? Because I think you do. So it sounds like it is legislation, but
Also, point me to that time way back in America's great past when they thought abortion was murdering a child, because that really doesn't exist. That for the most part, except for Catholics, which I don't even think they saw it as murder. For them, it was more of a birth control issue. Most Christians, including a lot of the really conservative branches of Christianity, were totally cool with abortion and thought it was a woman's personal health choice. That didn't become an issue until the religious right we're basically trying to cover for racism using abortion.
yeah, like the 60s and 70s when that started flipping. But Ken Ham and history don't have a great relationship. He's never been super great on that particular subject. So, yeah.
Well, how can you speak to the past with any kind of authority? You just don't know, because it's, I don't know.
Right.
absolute basis for your morality. It's like the Bible says, when there was no king to tell them what to do, they all did what was right in their own eyes. In other words, if you take generations of kids through an education system and throw out God, the Bible, prayer, creation, as our public education system has by and large done, and you teach atheistic evolution as fact, you'll produce generations who believe man determines truth, your morality is all subjective, and there's a connection between the indoctrination that way in our public schools and what we're seeing in our culture in regard to the secularization of our culture and moral relativism being prevalent and permeating.
I love that he blacked out two women
They
kissing.
blacked out the two women kissing. We can't have that on we can't have our children see that. It's disgusting display. Wow.
Powpuck says Magic School Bus made me an atheist.
Yeah, I love how they put Magic School Bus on there. Like, dog, there's a lot of people that like Magic School Bus. I don't know if that's the thing you want to go after, but
And I love too that he shows Lawrence Krauss making a point about the stars, and it's astrophysics and cosmology that's getting people to be more accepting of gay people and stuff like that.
Right.
I'm sure there's a direct line right there.
Right. That's the culture shift for sure. And not just like, oh, people just suddenly had friends that were gay and then realized it was all right. Yeah.
People on the right probably couldn't give a fuck about what Lawrence Krauss is saying and would think he was a creep if they knew anything about him. And they just, without any thought to these big questions, they're just starting to recognize we live around people and we're just going to be nice to them.
Yeah, he has a very inflated sense of worth when it comes to his ability to I don't know, communicate and advocate for his sense of culture being supreme. Like, oh, it's because they don't have our culture, they're not Christians, and that they're okay with this stuff. Like, I don't know if that's the case. Like, I was just hanging out with some Christians last weekend that are like totally cool with gay people. Like, it's more just a generational thing and social thing. Like, I don't think it's because they specifically don't believe in fucking young earth creationism, Ken. Like, I think you're kind of overblowing your worldview a little bit here.
This traces back, and I don't know if it was a Ken Ham thing or no, I think this was Kent Hovind. But back when I was going to Christian school, they would show us that video of well, it's an image, but they put it up in a video, I guess, whatever. It's where they show two different worldviews, and one is biblical and one is Christian. And that's like a castle with flags, and they show you shooting a cannon from the ground, the worldly one shooting a cannon, and at the base of each one is creation and evolution. So basically everything pivots on whether you think the earth was created in 6 days or we all evolved. And so they said, instead of shooting our cannons at the flags, at gay rights and abortion and all that stuff, we should be shooting at the foundation. And it's just, and basically people like Hovind and Ham are competing with all these other people for a space in the Christian media market, and so they're just trying to sell their own product is essentially what that is. That's where I think this overblown sense of
that makes sense. I mean, I think that's true for Christianity. I genuinely don't think like Christianity makes a lot of sense if you start taking stuff like Genesis as not literal. Like, I don't think that like works with the rest of the New Testament narrative and stuff. But like, as far as the broader culture, like, I don't know. There's a lot of people that still feel like, listen, you can be homophobic and still believe in evolution. Okay. Like that's not mutually exclusive.
Oh, you
right?
don't say.
Yeah.
We don't know anybody who's famously carrying both those positions.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, yeah.
The culture. And so what's the solution? Well, it's not government. It's not legislation. God gave the solution 6,000 years ago in the garden after man sinned. In Genesis 3:15, it's written in cryptic language, but it really is a prophecy concerning one will come who will die on a cross, be raised from the dead, and offer a free gift of salvation.
I love how comfortably he pivots from it says 6 days, so that is literally word for word what the Bible says, to now all of a sudden, well, and this is cryptic language, but when it says this, what it really means is that. So pick a lane, Ken.
Also, what a disingenuous piece of shit, because he absolutely believes, like, again, he's saying, oh, it's not the government or whatever, it's Christianity. But like, this man has actively fought and endorsed for government changes, like for his religion. Like, you're not apolitical in this. Like, why do you pretend like you are? Like, Christians always do this. They pretend like they have no stake in the game, except for their own belief, and then continue to vote for shit. Like, you know, it's just lying.
He literally went within a span of like 10 seconds. He went from sounding like he was going to be against theocracy to literally calling for more theocracy.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, take the cryptic language thing. What if I were to sit there and try to tell him, well, in Genesis 1, it mentions day 1, day 2, and day 3, but really that's just cryptic language that really means that he wouldn't have that. But now all of a sudden this is all about Jesus. Okay, whatever.
Right.
It's not just a really obvious story for why snakes bite us and we don't like whatever.
Have to retrofit Jesus onto there.
Yeah.
In other words, the solution has always been God's word and the saving gospel. That's the solution. That's what we've got to remember. You see, if people don't build their thinking on God's word, there's only one other foundation, man's word. And you can't get people to change their worldview until they change their foundation from man's word to God's word, believing and trusting in God's word and trusting Christ for salvation. And then out of that, building a Christian worldview. And so that's the answer. The answer has always been and always will be God's word.
Yeah. This is why we can't react to videos like this, because they always fucking end the same with the same bullshit message. It gets really boring really quick, you know?
Yeah. And this is really obvious. This is the oldest thing in the world. You pretend that it comes down to one book versus another, essentially. Well, number one, this is all man's word. Every single book is just something somebody wrote. And so you're going to compare one ancient book of scripture to like all the knowledge of people that's actually backed up by evidence and stuff. I don't need to explain this. We know this. It's just, it's just so aggressively stupid. Also, if Brad Stine is good for one thing, if he serves an actual function on this earth, and the fact that he takes up oxygen can be justified by something, it is the fact that playing him before Ken Ham just really shows how boring Ken Ham is.
Really? Right? That's probably what makes Brad fascinating, because he does kind of have like a weird energy that other like Christian people kind of don't have. But yeah, Ken Ham was just, God, like that was the best take. That's the best you could have done for yourself. You're presenting maybe the truth of God's word for the first time to somebody, and that's the energy you're putting into it. I don't know, man. Doesn't seem like you're trying that hard. You know?
Yeah, Brad is obviously extremely lazy in his thinking.
Yeah.
But he got out of bed that morning and decided he was going to put his all into his delivery.
He put something into the delivery. You can't take that away from him. That's true.
He didn't sit there and be like, yeah, and what really bums me out is that You can't say anything about black
Honestly,
people
we
these
wouldn't
days.
keep watching him for this long if he didn't have that kind of energy to him.
Yeah.
It'd be too boring, you know?
Sal Willis says something I was actually thinking. Brad Stone has drunk frat boy energy. And that's probably what was on my mind when I put the comparison to like him angrily being, and why don't you want to have a conversation with me? That felt to me a little bit like a drunk frat boy, like harassing some young woman, be like, come on, have fun, man. Like it felt like a little bit of the same energy. Maybe that's why I went there.
That's what I'm pointing out. Twiggle Downtown's comment saying the man who put on the glasses was pretty good looking, that's great. I'm glad you got enjoyment out of that tiny part in that video. So I don't know. I just thought that was funny. But anyway, yeah, Ken Ham, not very interesting, not very boring, not very interesting to talk about in my opinion. That's why we don't really talk about him too much, because like he's just a boomer guy that complains about the culture and stuff and is like radically inconsistent about that. Absolutely, wants shit to change in the government.
Time Jumper says Brad is guilty of sloth in thought. Ken is guilty of sloth in deed, to make them both mad by bringing up the Catholic concept of sin.
That's funny.
And Rochester Swift says there are fewer things more tedious than a serious Christian.
Yeah, really.
I think that's true. That has a lot to do with the selection process and looking for stuff to respond to.
Yeah, seriously.
If any of you ever decide to start doing any kind of YouTube reaction, whether it's in recorded or stream or whatever, you really need the person you're responding to carry half your video. Like they have to be entertaining. Yes. They can't be boring. That's death. They also just can't be so stupid that it's funny. They actually have to be somewhat engaging, because the people are watching your video are going to be watching them for a lot of the time.
There's one person that is the exception to this rule that does it really well, and that's our boy Paul from Apologia, because Apologia covers, in my opinion, some of the most boring fucking people, but he's still entertaining because he's very informative about how he approaches it. But I wouldn't recommend you do what Paul does. I'm like with Zod. You should try to find somebody at least that's what we try to do, is find somebody that's kind of entertaining, because otherwise, what do you do with that? I don't know, man.
Yeah, Paul has a very unique talent. He is much more informative than a lot of other people. I think.
Yeah.
I don't think he's really a reactor. He more uses that content as a springboard to do something more informative and have guests on and stuff like that. So
right.
Yeah.
And Paul has a very specific audience and idea in mind. He really targets young Earth creationism in particular. He probably talks about that more than any other subject. I mean, he talks about Bible stuff too. But I mean, like I think he's more for, hey, if you also grew up young Earth creationist, you're gonna find that interesting. I think that's how I envision Paul, at least, and how he targets that. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm feeling like I need to be dared.
You want to do a love dare?
Love, yeah. All
right,
we'll do a love dare.
So I'll try to make this quick, but for the sake of the audience, Love Dare is a book that accompanied the movie Fireproof, starring Kirk Cameron. And essentially the whole point was that his marriage was breaking up, and this book was, his dad gave him this notebook full of dares that he could do. If he did one every single day, then that would fix his marriage. And so the point is, this is supposedly gender neutral for husbands and wives both.
Right.
But this is
increasingly more and more for the boys, we found, I think.
There's a lot of sexism, not even really between the lines of this book. And the energy of it, just to tie it all together real quick, is men whose marriages are not going well because they're being shitty and basically trying to keep their wives in this very, I don't know, this environment that's very hostile to women and very controlling to women. When that goes wrong, this is when men push the panic button and think that some weird instant actions are going to fix it. And so, that's what this is. Yep. We've had things like love is not selfish, love is kind, love is not rude, love is not irritable. A lot of these are basically the same idea. Today, for day 7, we have love believes the best.
Love believes the best.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Like, does Love believe that President Donald Trump is in the Epstein files, for example? To be topical.
That's a good question. This is different. Most things like the Brad Stein book, I pre-read it and have it all broken down and ready to skip certain parts. This I go into totally cold. I think this is the only thing we do on the show that we haven't read or watched ahead of time. But my mind is already going to where this chapter might go wronger even than some of the other ones, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So we start with our our scripture. Love believes all things, hopes all things. 1 Corinthians 13:7. They have love in brackets because I guess it wasn't literally there.
Put it up over an Airbnb bed location. It's great.
In the deep and private corridors of your heart, there is a room. It's called.
Hey, well, buddy, you've never been to the private quarters of my heart, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Okay, step off. Okay, you don't know me. It's the private quarters of my heart is just a deep, dank, dark basement, and you're not invited. Okay. Anyway.
Okay, you want to know what this room is called?
Oh God, no.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's just corny, and it's in capital letters too because this is like a proper name. It's called the Appreciation Room.
Okay.
It's where your thoughts go. And by the way, I also want to tell the audience, in case anybody new watching this is like a substitute for therapy in the minds of the people who wrote it and in the churches who promote it. And that's one of the things that's really wrong, is this is filled with just like really silly surface level truisms and super basic observations that are either wrong or just so simple they're unhelpful.
Mm-hmm.
It's where your thoughts go when you encounter positive and encouraging things about your spouse. And every so often, you enjoy visiting this special place. What the God?
What's happening? Well, reminds me of Silent Hill 2, like go to thy special place, my special town. Anyway.
Wow. Okay. It sounds like this person is just assuming relationships where people just generally aren't that nice to each other. Because the fact that one of the dares is do one nice thing or don't say anything shitty for a day, it seems based on the premise that marriages are just terrible. And so this seems to be saying already that when you encounter positive and encouraging things about your spouse, the nice things about your spouse in marriage are so rare that you need to go inside your heart to the appreciation room and try to dwell there for a minute. I don't know. It all just feels very dire.
Yeah, it does feel dire. You're right about that. You're getting in a fight with somebody, but oh, babe, I'm sorry. I'm not in the appreciation room in my heart right now. There's a blockage going on. I need to get that looked at by a doctor. It's pretty bad.
This reads as a survival manual for how to survive the worst thing that you could possibly be.
Yeah, really. Which it kind of is, because like if you're in a marriage, you're not supposed to leave it, according to these people, right? So it is kind of like a you could do or die sort of situation.
On the walls are written kind words and phrases describing the good attributes of your mate. These may include characteristics like honest and intelligent, or phrases like diligent worker, wonderful cook, or
Busty.
Beautiful eyes.
I don't know. You could do some more with that.
This is just a really basic way of thinking that we remember good things about people. Whatever. They are things you've discovered about your husband or wife that have embedded themselves in your memory. When you think about these things, your appreciation for your spouse begins to increase. In fact, the more time you spend meditating on these positive attributes, the more grateful you are for your mate. Yeah, I guess.
Oh man, my wife's really good about taking out the litter. I'm just gonna meditate on that for the next 5 minutes, I guess.
If your attitude's ever going bad, just close your eyes and picture your wife scooping out cat shit.
Scooping up that cat litter, that's what I need. That's how I'm gonna get through this.
Most things in the appreciation room were likely written in the initial stages of your relationship. Again, this book just can't stop telling on itself. You could summarize them as things you liked and respected about your loved one. They were true, honorable, and good, and you spent a great deal of time dwelling on them in this room. ... Before you were married.
What? Well, I guess this whole thing, like the premise of this book is that your marriage has gone bad, but it's like, oh no, you only had good times before you're married. Like, bitch, you don't know me. The fuck, step off. I don't know. I like David's comment here too, by the way, which is, why do these have to be locked in the little room in your heart? which is just the funny. I don't know why. Yeah.
This should be part of the conscious flow of your thoughts. I'm sorry that.
Yeah.
Also, this is like a trope of Christianity, and maybe it's just the way a lot of people think, but that marriage is really good at first or before you get married, and then it's all just a downhill. I find that it gets better. Like the beginning of a marriage is actually one of the more difficult times where you're trying to hash everything out and get.
That's true.
Sorry,
Dave, I'm not in the appreciation room. I'm in the torture room right now, where I'm thinking about all the negative things that I hate about you that I also keep. And this room just got remodeled. Okay. So, all right. Sorry, babe. I'm gonna run away to the other room, which has all the Pokemon names in Pokedex.
Holy cow. You are prophetic.
Yeah. Oh, am I? Okay. We were talking about skipping around in different rooms.
So you spent a lot of time dwelling in this room before you're married, but you may have found that you don't visit this special room as often as you once did. That's because there is another competing room nearby. You're like,
oh, fuck.
You're always, this isn't the first time either. You were always one step ahead of this guy.
I should start writing these fucking books. It seems easy. There's another room in this house, and this is where the killer lies. You gotta escape. It's only a matter of time.
David Rutland. Oh, hi, Mark.
It's a good bit there. Good reference.
Down another darker corridor of your heart lies the depreciation room.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And unfortunately, you visit there as well.
Oh, shit, do I? Damn, this book. Why is this book telling me about my fucking life? Step the fuck off, book. I'm telling you. You don't know me. Damn. So what if I'm in a dark corridor? It's my fucking room. Okay? I'll stay in a dark corridor if I want to.
You really don't like being bossed around, do you?
No, not by fucking Christian self-help books. God, no.
Maybe you need to spend more time in the appreciation room regarding this book.
How about you spend more time in the kiss my fucking ass room? How about that? You know? Like someone's got this one, The Love Dan. That's gonna be my book. That'll be great.
I love the humanities comment too. You don't need therapy. You need a dumb metaphor about your heart in an apartment building. That's basically this book in a nutshell. Instead of therapy, just listen to some stupid metaphor or comparison or something like that.
Oh, see, your heart, it's more like a shitty apartment, and the landlord is not taking care of those water pipes. You have a flood right now. It's called pneumonia. It's the liquid is filling up your lungs. You need to see a doctor. Anyway, all right, moving on.
On its walls are written the things that bother and irritate you about your spouse. These things were placed there out of frustration, hurt feelings, and the disappointment of unmet expectations. This room is lined with the weaknesses and failures of your husband or wife. Their bad habits.
Shit. Who approved of this building? Take it down. I don't want that shit there.
Their bad habits, hurtful words, and poor decisions are written in large letters that cover the walls from one end to the other. If you stay in this,
I don't want this in my room. I don't want this in my house. Why is this there?
If you stay in this room long enough, you get depressed or start expressing things like, my wife is so selfish, or my husband can be such a jerk, or maybe I think I married the wrong person. He just really nails that dialogue. It doesn't sound like overly clinical, whatever. David says,
room.
and in that room was
Albert Einstein. It's a terrible foundation for, I don't know. We need to get on one of those shows where, like, you know, they get two rich white people to come look at your house and then like fix it up for you and stuff, like a fixer upper. I need that for my heart right now, because if I got rooms in there where I'm just hating on my wife, it doesn't seem like it's a good thing. I don't like that.
Rochester brings up the core question throughout this whole thing. Does this dolt really expect this slop to stave off divorce? Maybe, or maybe he just knows that this kind of simplified stuff will sell books to Christians.
Inside of you are two wolves. both live in opposite rooms of the house. They have to spend a month in this house together. If they do, they win $1 million.
This is, I mean, there is a point to this. We all have things in our inner monologue that like are either building someone else up or tearing them down, and where you spend the most time dwelling can affect your attitude toward them. Yeah, that's true, but I don't know. I don't know that this metaphor is really a substitute for intelligent therapeutic ways of dealing with that.
Yeah. This is a comment from a Magna who says, one frustrating thing about this book is that there's legitimately good advice mixed in here and there. And yeah, if you're pulling out basic shit, you're going to get some stuff right. I think we both agreed, like, it gets like some of the basic stuff, but like it doesn't actually elaborate or give you any real tools or any real help with anything besides shitty metaphors. So I don't know.
A lot of the core things he says in a lot of these chapters are good advice, but it's like such no duh good advice. Yeah. And he draws it out and explains it to you like he's insulting the intelligence of a kindergartner, and then moves on without really expounding on anything or giving you anything helpful. Then he just gives you a basic, like, I don't know, throws a Band-Aid on it with some stupid exercise at the end.
Yeah.
Some people write very hateful things in this room where tell-off statements are rehearsed for the next argument. Emotional injuries fester there, adding more scathing remarks to the walls. It's where ammunition is kept for the next big fight, and bitterness is allowed to spread like a disease. People fall out of love here.
Wow.
But know this. Spending time in the depreciation room kills marriages. You don't say.
Yeah, get the fuck out of this room. This is a bad room. You know? I wish it was
plot twist. Easy. Plot twist. This room is bad.
Plot twist. You've been in the room this whole time. You've never left. The whole house was the room. Everyone you know, family, dogs, pets, all rooms that you've been staying in.
Divorces are plotted in this room, and violent plans are holy cow, that turned dark.
Was Osama bin Laden staying in this fucking room? What's happening?
I think you've had darker thoughts about your wife than you want to admit here, buddy.
Yeah, really.
I don't know that my mind. We've all built up some resentment in our lives. I don't think my images in my mind have ever gone toward like me holding a knife or anything like that.
Dark secret plots are built up in this room. Basically, he's writing the plot to Dexter here. It seems like
you're just sitting there mulling in your own thoughts, and next thing you know, you've planned half of building a car bomb or something.
Yeah, really.
The more time you spend in this place, the more your heart devalues your spouse. It begins the moment you walk in the door, and your care for them lessens with every second that ticks by.
Wow.
You may say, but these things are true. Yes.
That's what Brad Stein would say. I'm only talking about true things. You think he does that with his wife? Where he's like, well, babe, I'm only talking about true things, when he's like saying some shit about, I don't know, her not doing something he wants. Probably.
Yeah, I love how. I love how he like automatically says those things are true.
Right.
Like it says, you may say these things are true, and he goes, yes, but so are the things in the appreciation room. I mean, they might be, but a lot of times you sit there festering, making assumptions about that person or building these narratives. A lot of them aren't totally objective statements. They're your own internal monologue about what that person, what that person intends and stuff like that. Like,
that's a good point. You could have cognitive distortions about how you feel about somebody based on your own insecurities, or because you've been spending too long in the spooky bedroom.
You're really getting a kick out of this metaphor.
I'm taking this all the way, baby.
Samgat says, this room is where you realize your journal is actually a manifesto.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, it's along with just simplifying way too many things. He just made a huge concession here that I think is very damaging. Like, lightheartedness aside, if you're actually intending this to be counsel toward people dealing with marriages, you made a bad step here. Everyone fails and has areas that need growth. Everyone has unresolved issues, hurts, and personal baggage. This is a sad aspect of being human. We have all sinned. But we have this unfortunate tendency to downplay our own negative attributes while putting our partner's failures under a magnifying glass. Again, talk to us like we're in kindergarten, buddy. Thank you.
Right.
Let's get down to the real issue here. Love knows about the depreciation room and does not live in denial that it exists. But love chooses not to live there.
Wow.
Thank you, Master Yoda.
That's great. You're really pissing me off. I'm about to send you to the depreciation room today. The depreciation room sounds like a scarier thing than where the bathroom is. I don't know. That sounds like where you would get tortured.
You must decide to stop running to this room and lingering there after every frustrating event in your relationship.
Yeah, stop going to the fucking room. That seems to be the solution. It's like a bad horror movie where it's like, no, I need to get away and go into the room. No, you don't actually. Don't go into the room.
It does you no good and drains the joy out of your marriage. Love chooses to believe the best about people. It gives them the benefit of the doubt. Right. It refuses to fill in the unknowns with negative assumptions. And when our worst hopes are proven to be true, love makes every effort to deal with them and move forward. As much as possible, love focuses on the positive.
Wow.
It's time to start thinking differently. It's time to let love lead your thoughts and your focus. The only reason you should go in the door of the depreciation room is to know how to pray for your spouse.
What?
And
oh, okay. So like, go in there when you want to know when you want to look at bad things about your spouse and think about bad things so you can pray about it. Okay.
Yeah, so don't go to the depreciation room to openly fester. Go there for ideas for how to be passive aggressively Christian about them.
And dear Lord, give me ideas on how to kill my wife. I think is what's happening in there.
More literally, what he's saying though is like, Lord, my spouse is being a real ass.
Right.
He never does the. Can you really work in his heart to? And again, all this is doing is getting you to going back to the fact that you can't assume that everything in that room is true, that a lot of it's your personal perception. It's not getting you to challenge those perceptions. It's getting you to pray with them. So essentially you're just rehearsing them in your mind as prayers to God with the assumption that the person is actually wrong about that. This is taking people down a very unhealthy path.
Yeah. Like if this was a good advice book, it would say, well, why don't you go in the room and evaluate the bad things on the wall and really see if they're true, and if there are true, or you have strong reason to believe it's true, why not talk about it with your partner or something? Like, I don't know, something else besides just pray and hope it goes away. Doesn't seem like a good idea. But
The only reason you should ever go in this room is to write "covered in love" in huge letters across the walls.
What the fuck? I'm not gonna. What? So it's okay. You think I'm taking this metaphor too literally? They're saying to literally write words on the metaphorical walls of this room in graffiti font, no less.
Yeah, that sounds a little bit like a deepity. Like that metaphor sounds like it's alluding to an action, but I don't know that most people could really pin down what it is. And that's where the vagary of this book is just super unhelpful.
I'm going to need the writers of this book to go into the deep thinking room and really reflect on their actions on writing this book, and then go to the editing room to maybe sponge up how they're doing this book. And if it works really good, then they can go to the publishing room. So, but
I think they need to spend several years in the get a degree in a relevant field for therapy room.
yeah, that's a good room, I hear. I think. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty
I
good
feel
room.
like you should put in your time there before you travel to the write a book about relationships room.
I agree. David has a great point here. This reads to me as if my feelings are not my own, as if I can lock them away somewhere that physically separates me from them. True. When I went to New York, I got to see Broadway, and I saw Book of Mormon, which is great. Never seen it before. I had heard the soundtrack, and there's a whole song about like the Mormons like just locking up their feelings away so that they can like continue doing their stuff, and that totally reminds me of that. Like, yeah, there's definitely a thing in religion that tells you to just kind of lock away your feelings and don't deal with it unless you got to pray about it, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't address them as something generated in your mind that you need to like untangle. It treats them essentially, it's referring to them kind of like their platonic projections of an external reality, and that it gives you permission to treat them accordingly. And I think that's missing a huge step in this process.
Yeah. Well,
It's time to move into the appreciation room, to settle down and make it your home. As you
wait,
choose to
was
Go
the
ahead.
other room not also part of my home? I thought the whole heart is the heart, not my home. But now it's just the appreciation room is my home. And the other one's like a visitor house? Is that like a guest house? That's kind of interesting, huh?
And when you consider that home is where the heart is, are you supposed to put your
Mm,
heart inside your own heart?
right. There's a little bit of inception going on here. I see. Yeah, I don't know.
All right. As you choose to meditate on the positives, you will learn that many more wonderful qualities can be written across these walls. Your spouse is a living, breathing, endless book to be read.
And
Dreams
an endless book to be read with lots of rooms.
Dreams and hopes have yet to be realized. Talents and abilities may be discovered like hidden treasure, but the choice to explore them starts with a decision by you. I just find it insulting that this person gets paid to write prose among everything else. Like this is
Yeah. This is one of those ones where ChatGPT would do it better. You know? Like this is just a little bit worse, but
this sounds
I
like
don't know.
college freshmen taking their first creative writing course.
Yeah, a little bit. So is that the end? What's the dare?
Oh, we have one more paragraph left. A
Okay,
little short one. You must develop the habit of reining in your negative thoughts and focusing on the positive attributes of your mate. This is a crucial step as you learn to lead your heart to truly love your spouse. It is a decision that you make whether or they deserve it or not. Yeah, so essentially, again, really basic advice about how the fact that whether you park on resentment or think positive thoughts can really affect how you view your spouse or anybody in your life, really.
Right.
But what I find, along with the stuff that we've already addressed, one thing I find really unhelpful as we came to the end of this is it's telling you to treat these as two totally separate things and not integrate all these ideas about your spouse. Like it's not acknowledging the fact that this very division between the positives and negatives was created within your own mind, and that you're basically, this is basically framed as a hope that this person will meet your expectations without challenging what those expectations are, and that maybe some of what you see as a negative is your own personal problem, or you having a bad attitude about something that's actually a good thing about that person.
Yeah, like also there's some things that definitely can and should be worked on, like between you and your spouse, but there's some stuff I think that is just kind of bedrock. Like I think there's some things with me and my wife that, you know, I I her personality and the way she does things might piss other people off, but doesn't piss me off because of who I am. And same thing with me. I definitely do things that would like probably piss other people off or people wouldn't like as much. But like
Yeah.
because of our values and stuff, like we, you know, we're okay, and that's why we're together. So it's like there may be some things that like you can't actually get over with some people because it's so bedrock into them, and that's okay. You don't need to be married to everybody, but I don't know. Again, this book just doesn't explore that at all. It's just you gotta fix it. Everything has to be fixed.
Well, it doesn't get to the bottom of, aside from the fact that some things might just be, like you said, bedrock, just part of their personality.
Yeah.
It also doesn't explore how you arrive at the conclusion that they're positive or negative. It just assumes that whatever your initial knee-jerk reaction is, that just defines what these two rooms are. I don't know.
All right.
And that could be simplifying, but again, the problem is he's not going in any useful detail on this. All right. So today's dare. For today's dare, get 2 sheets of paper. I knew this is what this is going to be.
Oh shit. Okay. Hold on.
On the first one, spend a few minutes writing out positive things about your spouse. Then do the same with negative things on the second sheet. Place both sheets in a secret place for another day. You damn well better keep that place secret.
Oh fuck. Okay. Damn.
There is a different purpose and plan for each. At some point during the remainder of the day, pick a positive attribute from the first list and thank your spouse for having this characteristic.
I'll put this in a secret place. You ready? Yep. Don't know where it is. It's a secret place now.
If your spouse found this list, she would stick it right in a secret place. All right, check here when you completed today's dare. Which list was easier to make? What did this reveal about your thoughts? What attribute did you thank your spouse for having?
That seems like a recipe for disaster. Write a list of everything you hate about your wife. Don't let her find it.
Yeah. As you're working on reconciling with your spouse, start making secret lists and hiding them from her.
Yeah. Yeah. Did the author actually try this with literally anybody and see if this would work? Because that doesn't seem like it's a good idea.
Aside from just the secret keeping, the fact that you're hiding things from that person, I don't know. I just don't like this whole. He's really indulging the schema of, I already know what's good and bad about this person, and just letting you operate in that assumption. And
that's another good point. How do you figure out what's legit or not? Because some things might be a you problem, right?
Sam got said, awesome. If you didn't have an depreciation room, you do now.
Yeah, definitely. Imagine like the bad list is like 2 times as long as like the good list. Like, I don't know.
Oh boy, that was a lot of them had more. A lot of them said more insulting things about women.
Yeah.
Sorry, what's that?
I was just doing a dumb Robert Frost poem joke, but it didn't really work. Yeah, that was the least sexist one so far, I think.
It was the least sexist, but I feel like it had the most transparently bad advice, just in terms of how you conceptualize and address issues. That was pretty bad.
Conceptualize your emotions as rooms. Also live in those rooms. Also write words on the walls. And visit one of them, but only for prayer. And make the other one your home. But also write lists out. And make them in secret for your dare. Okay, sure.
Yeah, among the advice on here, it's separate all their actions based on your personal feelings. Treat them as basically true. Whatever your observations are, they don't go challenged. And then park in one and pretend the other one doesn't exist.
Right.
None of that seems healthy. I don't know. I may be no cold case detective, but those clues don't add up.
I've been in a lot of rooms in my time, and let me tell you, this is a room we'd best left closed. I'm objectively Dan. This has been room detectives.
All right.
I don't know.
You ready to wrap up? We're a few minutes over.
Yeah. Don't go into any strange rooms you don't recognize, and don't write tacky messages on your wall unless that's your thing. Then go for it. And that I think that wraps it up. Also, don't talk about the quote unquote racial differences between other races with your friends and family, and think that that's a normal thing that we should all get on board with. You know,
I think that is sage
what people would
advice.
sell at. Yeah, that's my take. I think. What about you?
Or write all your observations. Take all your observations about another race and write the good ones on one sheet.
No, end it now. End it now. We can't top that. We can't top that, Todd. That's it.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Voy a cantar esta canción con mucho cariño de mi corazón a la República Dominicana, la casa del merengue y la casa de la bachata. Voy a cantar esta canción con mucho cariño de mi corazón a la República Dominicana, la casa del merengue y la casa de la bachata. La, 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 la casa del merengue. La, 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 y la casa de la bachata. Música, música.